Hi, I'm Karima from Hijabi Globetrotter. I get a lot of questions from people asking me what it's like traveling as a Muslim, especially a visible Muslim. I wear a headscarf when I travel, and sometimes I get messages from ladies telling me like, "Oh, you're so brave," or they ask me where I'm from, and I tell them the U.S., and they're like, "Wow, you live there? How do you survive?" And then they also go further to ask like, "How do you live abroad? How did you work abroad? How did you travel abroad looking visibly Muslim?" Traveling as a Muslim isn't so different as any other traveler. However, because Islam is a lifestyle, traveling as a Muslim does have some unique twists to it. So, here with me, I have these Muslim travelers who will share their story on what it's like traveling as a Muslim.
Hello, hello, hello. Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, everybody. My name is Leah V. I am from Detroit, but currently live in New York City. And I am a plus size model. I am a body positive activist and an author of Unashamed Musings of a Fat Black Muslim. I am a first degree black belt in Taekwondo.
Hi everyone, my name is Waleed Haji and I'm from the UK. I've been living in Bangkok, Thailand and traveling around the Southeast Asia region for the past 3 years. I work in digital marketing, so I've been helping small businesses optimize their online presence, primarily focusing in SEO and organic growth. And I've recently, earlier this year, founded a new Muslim travel company called Ruth Travel, where we focus designing itineraries for a few Southeast Asia countries.
My name is Huda Sharuru. I am a higher education professional. I am based out here in the Phoenix metro area in Arizona. I am obsessed with all things coffee and espresso. If you know me or you get to meet me, I will probably have some sort of coffee beverage with me offhand. One of my favorite things to do is to explore coffee shops. I love to explore coffee shops in my local city, and then also, and most definitely, especially when I am traveling.
Can't really say that it's been a simple event or any one thing that's occurred in my life that's kind of ignited that particular spark in me. It's something that's a massive passion of mine. It's always been in my DNA. I've always wanted to travel, especially from a young kid. I would say definitely now being in a world where everyone is connected through the internet, whether you're on social media and these other platforms online, kind of, especially people that look like me, kind of helped me take the plunge and book that first ticket, and I haven't looked back since.
For me growing up, I grew up in a cross-cultural home, and so I have various memories as a kid going abroad to visit my father's family overseas, and even spent a duration of almost a full year in a country abroad. And so being put in situations that are different than what is here in America is something that was very familiar with me. Fast forward, after a very tough year in undergrad, I was blessed to experience a study abroad program. So I went overseas and studied for a couple of months Arabic through my university. And then I remember on my way home, I was able to stop in England and explore a whole new country in a whole new city that I hadn't gotten to see. I was 19 years old. I was completely by myself. This was before Google Maps existed on cell phones. And so having a map and being in a completely different city, in a different country, in a different continent on my own as a 19-year-old, I just remember feeling like the world was mine. You know, here's this massive world, and I was blessed to just have that experience. And so I remember coming home after that summer and just feeling like an entirely different person. And I think that I remember that experience in itself being very transformative, because as soon as I began my working career, I saved money, I saved time, I saved anything just to be able to kind of refresh and rejuvenate myself through these experiences.
I grew up as a poor, fat black Muslim girl in Detroit, no father. Mother had 5 children on her own, single parent. And I remember always watching like movies of like people who traveled to New York and went to London and went to Africa and different places. And I always would wonder what it would be like if I also traveled. And also, I'm a plus size woman, and a lot of plus size people don't feel comfortable traveling because of the seats and because of fat phobia and stuff like that. And so I really, really wanted to show people that I could be a plus size, I could be Black, woman, Muslim, and still, jet set around the world. And I've definitely proven that. So I love traveling, and I'm a little scared to go to certain places because I am trying to get out of my comfort zone. But yeah, I love traveling. And what sparked my interest is just me wanting that challenge and me wanting to explore different cultures, different religions, and to see different people. So yeah.
As a Muslim woman traveling, I have had a great share of really great and beautiful experiences, but I've also had my share of not so great experiences. My first experience I can even recall is as a 19-year-old traveling abroad for my first time and being pulled to the side as I'm about to board the plane for additional questioning. And I think for me, I do sometimes get a little anxious going to airports because I'm like, okay, what is my experience going to be like today? Is it going to be an easy breeze and I go through security and not a problem? Or am I going to get randomly selected and be scrutinized for additional screening? Am I going to have my bag opened up in front of everybody and searched through, which I've had happen a couple of times. And then there was a time where my mom, my sister, and I, we were traveling, which my mom covers, and they overbooked our seats. And then they made my mom, my sister, and I stand in the middle of the plane while they were figuring out what they were going to do with us. And we were dealing with not such a polite flight attendant. And I remember just having those stares and people whispering, and here there are two Muslim women standing in the middle of the plane, and just how uncomfortable that felt. And those kind of experiences, I do just kind of move on from them because I don't want them to ruin my entire travel experience. I just figure as a Muslim woman who covers, that just kind of comes with the territory, which I don't think people understand like how much of a burden that can be. But as a person who genuinely loves travel, I also don't let those experiences weigh me down and prevent me from going out there and exploring the world. As I mentioned, I kind of focus more on the great experiences, which is why I continue to travel. But yeah, just the heaviness of that.
You don't really know how people will perceive you. So, I've been to a couple places that don't necessarily have majority Muslim population, and you don't know how people are going to treat you when they see you wearing a hijab or something like that. So it's definitely, I would say, challenging, but it's also rewarding as well because you get to see different types of people and how they interact with you once they find out that you're Muslim. So that's really cool.
A few years ago, while my wife and I were backpacking in Malaysia, and it was during the part of the trip where we were spending in Langkawi, in one of the islands in Malaysia, and we booked a homestay where when we booked it online, it looked okay, the reviews were great, and we didn't think much of it, so we kind of showed up at the island. We couldn't really find where the place was. It wasn't near any beaches or any of the main tourist locations. We tried to experience a bit of nature in that particular part of the trip. So the homestay was like in the middle of a jungle. I don't really recall what the area was called. And we had one of the guys who worked there pick us up from near the airport and took us to the place. And the place looked okay, didn't look that bad. The guy that was running it was super nice. So once we got there, and as we were unpacking our clothes, a fly landed, not the typical fly, it must have been like a flying ant or something along those lines. One of those insects, however, flying insect, landed on our suitcase, and didn't think much of it. You're in the middle of the jungle, that's what you expect at the end of the day. But then a second or two later, a second one landed there, then a third one, and within seconds, a whole swarm of those flying insects entered the room. I have no idea how they got in because the door was closed, and they must have found some sort of ventilation system where they entered, and the whole room was full of them. It was kind of like a locust plague. It was crazy, and there was no way that we would be able to stay there. And as all of those insects got in, so did all the lizards, and geckos started crawling under the doors, and they found their way through. And the whole place, it was so much insects flying in there that I couldn't even see my wife anymore, and although she was in the same room. So we just got the hell out of there that day. So I would say that's definitely a crazy experience.
One of my most memorable experiences was actually meeting my husband while traveling, which wasn't planned. But I think for me, what's so beautiful about the moment is not only the fact that, we ended up getting married and living in the same country, alhamdulillah, after a process. But I just remember hearing from people in my community about how to get traveling out of my system as a girl, and once I settle down, things will change, or when am I gonna get traveling out of my system, or things like that. I never got those things from my family because my family has been so understanding and so encouraging of my traveling. But the fact that I was blessed to meet my spouse while I was traveling with some of my close friends is something that I definitely will not forget. Just because the fact that here I am just living life, doing my thing, and then this happened, which I wasn't expecting or wasn't looking for. So for me, that's a testament about how you should just go out there and live life, and not wait for moments to happen, and that you kind of just go with the flow. And I think that's being adaptable and just open up to experiences, I think, is something that you become more and more used to or accommodating to as a traveler, because sometimes you plan and then something else ends up happening, and so you're having to scratch that plan and completely do something different.
A lot of the issues that I have had with traveling is, of course, people just being really, really rude. I've also had a situation when I went to Paris. I don't speak French, and a lot of them wouldn't give me directions to where I needed to go. And so I remember just walking around aimlessly in the airport, trying to see if someone could help me, and they kept laughing at me and making me feel bad. And so that was really, really discouraging. So I was just okay, what do I do? So finally, I found a black Parisian. I don't know what they are calling African or African French. I'm not sure, but she was a sister. Okay, she was a sister, and I was can you please help me? All these other guys are laughing at me. They're not giving me directions. I don't understand them. Can you help me? The sister helped me. Okay, to my destination. I was able to get to where I was gonna go. So yeah. Well, I would say get out there and do it. If you're scared of traveling, this is not just for Muslims, but anybody. Get out there and live your best life. I mean, it's 2020. We have so much stuff going on in the world, and when them borders open up and it's safe, get out there and travel. I think for Muslims in particularly, and other marginalized groups who don't feel comfortable kind of getting out there and exploring cultures and exploring life, I think it's important that we kind of get out of our element, because a lot of us are so comfortable with staying around the same people who think like us, who look like us, who dress like us, and believe the exact same thing that we do. And also that's great and it's comfortable, but it's also a hindrance. I have learned so much from people who don't look like me, who don't believe like me, who don't dress like me, but we all share that sense of humanness and that human element of learning about each other and our cultures and our differences, and able to champion our differences. And so I would say definitely get out there and travel. And I'm a big fan of traveling solo. I love traveling solo. I thought I would be really scared at first, but then I got hooked on it. I'm just wait, I can just travel anywhere I want to in this world and live my best life. 3 snaps, let's do this. And so I love solo travel. It's so addictive. It's so fun, so amazing. You meet so many amazing people on your journey of getting lost and getting on a train and going to restaurants and the beach, museums, whatever. it's an amazing feeling. So yeah, I would definitely say get out there and travel.
First of all, you have to know that traveling really isn't for everybody. There's a really a differentiation between traveling and going on a holiday. For some people, it would suffice to go on a simple holiday, whether you go to Turkey, you go to Dubai, Dominican Republic, whatever it may be, and you want to spend a few nights there, enjoy a nice resort, enjoy your hotel, eat some good food, and that would suffice for you to do that once or twice a year. Some other people, especially people like me, that's not enough. We want to consistently travel. We want to keep it as a continuous thing in our lives. We want to not only, spend a week somewhere, but try to spend a lot of time there. So first of all, you're going to have to know which group you fall into. If you fall into the latter, where you want to spend a lot of time there, and perhaps you want to backpack and see as much of the world as possible, then and you're quite fearful of that, you don't know where to go about that, then I would definitely say take your time. There's no rush. I know that when you go online, you're bombarded with a lot of imagery where people are enjoying, times at tropical beaches, they're swimming in crystal clear water, they're trekking through jungles, they're eating all this exotic food, and that kind of makes you want to be hasty and book that ticket sooner than you actually, that is feasible for you. And I've definitely fell into that issue in the past. And I would say definitely take your time, research as much as possible, reach out to people who are doing it, who, such as Karima, who's making this video, and who'll be more than happy to help you and give you tips, and really make it an easier route for you, an easier path to get there.
Just get out there and explore, and the world will not disappoint. And if anything, it just reaffirms even the beauty of God and the creations that God has put on this earth, the different people, the different cultures, the different sceneries, the different types of nature that you'll see in cities, and it's something that you will cherish forever.
When people ask me what it's like traveling as a Muslim, it really is a varied and broad question, because being a Muslim doesn't mean you're from one region of the world. You can look like anything and still be a Muslim. So it's kind of why I brought in the people from different backgrounds and different cultures to share their stories. Depending on how you look and where you're from, and your gender as well, your experiences may vary as a Muslim traveler. So even my experience alone doesn't define the entire Muslim experience. However, we do have some common experiences, such as like being scrutinized a little bit more at the airport, trying to find like food that doesn't have pork in it, trying to live certain lifestyle that is shared among Muslims around the world. But it's good to hear from other people and their stories. I just want to say thank you all for sharing your stories. I really appreciate it, and thank you, the viewer, for watching, and hopefully you learned something new. If you do have any questions about what it's like to be a Muslim traveler, feel free to comment down in the comment section below. And also, if you have any story that you would like to share about your own experience as a traveler, I would love to hear it as well. Once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Hasta luego.